Louise, and this is vlogcast number 3. This is a vlogcast about, with a bit of vlog about my day-to-day life running a hand-dyed indie yarn shop based in the UK near Bedfordshire, and a podcast about knitting predominantly. So you get little snippets of what I'm getting up to in the dye studio, or packing orders, or designing new series, all those kind of things, with the odd snippet of real life in there. Unavoidable. And then I do a bit of podcasting about what I'm actually knitting. So I wanted to talk to you first this week about my Fox Thoughts cardigan, which you've all seen before if you're a returning viewer. This is a pattern by Hiroko Pain, which is in the Pom Pom Quarterly issue, I want to say 37, it's the winter 2020 issue. You knit it as a hole in the round, and then it is steeked, which I've never done before, so join me for the fear of that later on. So I am down almost at the bottom of the second chart now. I had an issue that I was talking about in my last vlogcast where I had done a really weird thing with the increases, and it had left a load of holes. I carefully, as I knitted round a whole round, I pulled back every sort of column of stitches where they were wrong and fixed them. So that's fixed now. So this is a pattern which I've said before is knit, designed to be in lace weight yarn, and both the front colour, the contrast colour, and the background colour, the main colour, gradually change. You just change one of the lace weight yarns that you're holding at a time, so that you get this gradual gradient. I'm knitting it with a fingering weight yarn, a combination of our merino quads, which is 100% merino here, and our gold leaf sock, which is merino, nylon and gold stellina. I'm using my advent set from our 2020, my 2020 yarn advent, and I designed that to be kind of a fade, mostly a fade. So I'm using that to fade through. I am selling this as a pattern, as a yarn set without the pattern and without the buttons if you're doing the cardigan rather than the pullover. I am making notes of where I'm changing colour, and I'm going to include a little chart for colour changing for people to follow. I'm really pleased with how this section here, oh, I've got it caught on the back. This section here is looking, with the back colour is the pensive, and then in here where on the pattern it changes to a different colour, I've put in For the Love of Ginny as the background colour. But I really like that bit, and I really like this bit. There's going to be some more of this stuff, but in the kits that I'm selling, I'm also offering some more solid main colours. One of them's Storm's End, which I just designed and dyed up. I've been thinking about it for ages, designed and dyed up yesterday, and I'm so pleased with it. I will show you that later in the vlogcast, because it's in the drying room at the moment, also known as the airing cupboard, but it's been set up with all special dryers and everything. So I've got a proper dye studio, a proper drying room, and then a proper yarn shop packing space. So that's working very nicely. The other thing I've been knitting on, just on these two things, trying to get them both done, is my little dahlia. This is obviously supposed to go that way up, but just so I can show you, because it rolls on the needles. This is knit in our merino cashmere nylon base, a 4-ply base, and it is super soft, super silky, feels a bit like suede is how I'd describe it, really soft suede, and it's a really pretty pattern. with this beautiful leaf design at the top. It's been really simple as well, but still engaging, and I really am in complete love with how the colourways showing up. This is our Pygmy Puff colourway, and I feel like it should be incredibly popular because I love it. That is in my new bag from the Fibre Fox. So I showed you the needle roll that I got from the Fibre Fox, which I was showing off the other week, so check back for, I think it was Vlogcast 1. And this slots beautifully, if I can do it whilst looking at the camera, into here. It does slot beautifully into here, I promise you. And then goes in this beautiful, beautiful bag. And I think this might be the happiest purchase I've made in a long time. So thank you very much, Georgie. I've been dyeing like a crazy person. I have down here absolutely hordes of yarn. I've been dyeing up the Prisoner of Azkaban fade series because I had an order that needed it, so I just dyed loads of it up while I was on it. So that's the Night Bus. This is Hogwarts Grounds, one of my favourite colourways ever. And it's a really soft, pale, antique gold mink colour. Absolutely love that. And every now and again you get these beautiful shots of really deep, deep blue, like a deep periwinkle. It's really nice. I'm trying to see whether I can, there's a bit of the bluey there. So that's Hogwarts Grounds. Then there's Marauders Map. I need to make something out of this. I've dyed up 4 skeins of singles and loads of skeins of mohair silk on Marauders Map so that I can make something maybe out of those in this itself. I've dyed up some Buckbeak. This is a really soft duck egg blue with like seafoam colours, golds, and then flecks of purple. Really lovely one. I need to knit something with this so that I can show it off. Can you see the purple in there? Because I don't feel like people have realised how soft and beautiful it is. This is Parvati and the Boggart, much less soft. It's a real rich yellow. James says it reminds him of chip shop curry, which, yeah, fair enough. Or some might call it a lime mustard, maybe. And it has this soft minky purple at the end, which flows through, loads of speckles, loads of loveliness. And I knit this into the heel of my sprocket socks, and I thought it looked great. So yeah, again, that's on my list. And dyed up some more Expecto Patronum. It's a lovely one. So yeah, I've been dyeing them up as sets as well. So you can get them in sets of 6 minis, and I've done them in both 100% merinos, which is this is our merino quad space, which I really love, and also on the BFL sock base, which is a real sturdy sock base. So whether you want to make socks or you want to use it for colour work, the options are available. been ages, like 3 weeks since I started filming this. Well, started filming this probably 6 weeks ago, and then stopped filming it maybe 3 weeks ago, just because we've been so busy with the kids at home and with homeschooling and all of that. And I had a huge dye list for Fox Thoughts cardigans and yarn clubs and things like that, that I needed to get out. So I just focused on getting all of those bits done, and now I'm back to catching up with you guys. And I've been kind of holding out because I've been looking into some new yarns based on some patterns that I like, and kind of doing more exploration into, I suppose, the things that I like regarding, British farming, British wools, having more toothy, non-superwash yarns and things like that. So it takes quite a lot of research to find these things. It's very easy to get undyed yarn that's shipped from all around the world that's superwash. I very specifically buy mine from a UK provider who doesn't do any museling, doesn't deal with anything like that. They try and source all of their produce, the different ingredients that go into the blends, from all sustainable farming methods, even when they're getting in yarns from maybe goats or yaks from Mongolia. They try and support small farms, and it's distributed between lots of different small farming communities in places like that. So I have been conscious of that right from the start. I've always been conscious of that. The superwash treatments that are done on the yarns that I dye on for Telling Yarns are all done in the UK under UK laws for superwash treatments. So it's all very low impact, and the yarns are as responsibly sourced as possible for global yarns. But I really, being a British farmer's daughter and putting great value on British farming, I help my dad quite a bit with the farm, and that's not necessarily the day-to-day. I do a bit of the day-to-day stuff as well, mud on boots, as they say. But I've been to lots of training sessions with my dad. We've been to lots of farm walks on other farmers' farms where they're talking about regenerative agriculture, the environmental impact that British farming can have on our, on our global footprint, you know what I mean. Anyway, so it's something that I'm very interested in. The sort of British farming side of it is quite literally in my DNA, being a fourth generation resider on this farm from this family. So I started looking into yarns, and I started looking into trying to find a British mill where I could get British wool, so British farmed, British sheep, and then actually spun in British mills, preferably the smaller mills, to try and give them more support, and get some more toothy, sort of more woolly wools, rustic wools, in combination with the softer merinos and the superwashes that I know people also like. So I just wanted a combination of both. I wanted to be able to knit things like, sorry, I'm leaning over here because I've stacked everything up on my desk. Things like the Favreau sweater by Fibre Towels, and this is more of a toothy woolly wool, as Pum Pum would say. So I just wanted to get into a bit more of this, as well as having the superwash, super soft kind of things. So I have just got in this first blend of yarn. So this is an Exmoor sock 4-ply. It's from John Arbon Textiles. So John Arbon Mills have milled this and spun this. They collect it all from British farmers. So it's a blend of, I've got the info sheet here, so I'll definitely give you the right info, because it's only landed with me on Tuesday. I've been happily dyeing away and fiddling with it and everything. So this is a superwash. So I'm going to have one superwash in this more toothy, rustic series, and then I'm going to have a few that are non-superwash, and I'm doing different trials with another mill, Laxton's, which is a Yorkshire mill, and they actually built a brand new mill in the last few years, which is unheard of because the milling industry, we always hear about the wool, like on This Farming Life, when they're shearing the sheep, and a whole bag of fleeces is worth, you know, £200. It's not even, it barely even covers the cost of having the sheep sheared. So I wanted to try and get involved with getting involved with putting our money in those pockets wherever possible, and because the wool is so worth so little to the farmers now, it means that the spinning that was traditionally always done in this country, lots of it shut down and doesn't happen anymore. So Laxton's are a long-standing miller, Yorkshire miller, but they've only recently set up a brand new state-of-the-art mill to replace their older one. So I'm going to be getting some non-superwash from them, and they're sending me a load of samples which I'm going to play with. Then I'm going to be getting this from John Arbon and another one. So this one's superwash. This is going to be called British Sock on our website. It's 400 metres to 100 grams, and it's a blend of British yarns. So there is 60% Exmoor Blueface. Just, you'll recognise the Blueface as in Blueface Leicester, which is the softest British yarn, and Exmoor Blueface is a cross between an Exmoor Horn and a Blueface Leicester. So it's still got a bit of softness, although it's not merino soft, it's a toothy rustic yarn, but it gets a bit of bounce and softness from the Exmoor Blueface. So that's 60%. 20% superwash Corriedale. So the Exmoor Blueface is superwash, the Corriedale 20% is superwash. Corriedale is a much more toothy yarn. It's toothy wool, and it gives it more stitch definition, and it will help it to grip together. So if you're knitting colour work and you really want it to, you know, grip together and to sort of bloom when you wash it, that's the Corriedale. And then it's got 10% Zwartblas, which is a black, well, almost black sheep, really dark brown, almost black sheep with these little white stripes on its back feet and its tail. And I think they have a stripe on their face as well. And that gives it this grey colour. So this is the undyed yarn here that I'm holding. It is 10% nylon as well. So it's got 90% of it is white, and then it has 10%. I don't know whether you can see. If I put my hand like this, hopefully it's actually focusing on these black hairs, which is the Zwartblas in there. So I've been dyeing this up, and you would think, based on the fact that the yarns I normally dye are white when they arrive, that you'd get a big colour difference. But actually, if I grab here, this is For the Love of Ginny from the Yarn Advent. On my left here, I've got it on the British Sock there. And then here it's on our Blossom 4-ply, which is a merino bamboo base. Then it's on merino singles here, 100% merino, and on mohair silk, 72% silk, 28% mohair. Yeah, that would be right. So you can see the colour actually is almost exactly the same. So I'm really, really pleased with that, because I like the depth that the Zwartblas gives the British Sock, but I equally want to be able to get the colours in an almost true match, because you know, if you're ordering this, on this base, I want it to look similar. So I'm really, really, really chuffed with this. It feels fantastic. It's got a real bounce, a squish, a toothiness, and because it's predominantly superwash, it is machine washable. So it's absolutely ideal for things like socks and gloves that you want to chuck in the washing machine, particularly if you're going out with small boys who are making mud pies, which is what my children are doing at the moment. So gloves are all going in the wash pretty much every time we walk through the door, because they are like, Milo came to me with full mud hands at the door yesterday, because our garden is half garden, half leftover building site at the moment. So I ended up getting a bowl of soapy water, getting him to wash his hands with the gloves in them before he could even take them off, and I could put them in the washing machine. So anyway, yeah, I'm really, really, really pleased with. I'm hoping that the camera is focusing because I'm blocking out my face. Really pleased with how that's coming on. And off the back of that, I'm hoping to knit some things from Strands of Joy, which I ordered from Botanical Yarn, who we'll call my local yarn shop, for want of local currently during lockdown. So I'm thinking maybe of doing, obviously this is on the long list of things you're going to knit, maybe doing this one with I love the bear detail at the bottom. See if there's a better picture. I can thoroughly recommend this book. I follow Anna Johanna on Instagram, and she does these really cool like tea and cake sessions once a week, and every other week they're in Finnish and then English on the alternate. And they're really nice, and she just chats about what she's designing and stuff. And she did a really good one with Lena, because she's released this in collaboration with Lena magazine. So she did a really good one with them where they had all the samples. It's on her Instagram grid, and they were talking about the different patterns. And I just thought this would be ideal. I'd already pre-ordered it actually in November from Sophie at Botanical Yarn. But yeah, I think it would be ideal for my new toothy woolly yarns that I've got coming in. I've actually been on a bit of a pattern book haul since I last spoke to you a few weeks ago. I've been reading This Golden Fleece by Esther Rutter. This I bought from Daughter of a Shepherd on her website. That's good. She sent this lovely bookmark with it as well. If I turn it over, just like that. With her sheep on it. And this is brilliant. I ordered it because I know people always talk about This Golden Fleece as being sort of, if you're interested in yarn and you've got a bit of an interest in actually where the yarn comes from, the sheep as well, that this is a really, really good book. And then I ordered it, and when it arrived I thought, oh, is it going to be a bit of a slog? It's going to be one of those ones that like you should read, but do you want to read it kind of thing. And it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. She's going on this journey to basically explore knitting and its origins over a year. So she starts at sort of New Year, wanting to set out with this new project in mind, and then she chooses, the chapters are kind of broken up by a particular project, and whilst she's talking about what she learns from history and things, and she drops it in little sort of nuggets of information. So it's so perfectly written that you get a flow between her working on this project, her researching the project and the research and the people that she meets and the places that she goes in order to do that, and the actual research that she gets, the historical facts, and it's all perfectly knitted together, like that pun, perfectly knitted together so that it feels a really cohesive and comfortable tale, as if somebody's just chatting quietly to you by the fireside. And it's lovely. She just, she's here and she's doing that, and then on the train on the way home she's knitting, and she talks through the stitches as she does them, and you would think that would be potentially a little dull, and it's not. It's so beautifully written and so interesting, and you feel like you're sat beside her looking at her knitting that thing. So I'm not too far into it yet, because I don't get loads of time during the day to read, but I'm really enjoying it, and I would very thoroughly recommend it. I also ordered the Shetland Wool Week annual. This is the 2021 that I think came out quite recently, and I ordered this directly from them. There's loads of things, I wonder if you can see, loads of things that I would fancy knitting in here. Katie's cap, they always do one of these types of hat. It's also got lovely little articles in it as well, because it's, oh sorry, I'm holding it completely in the wrong place, sorry. Because it's Shetland based, they have all their own sayings and things, and words for things. So it has these lovely little bits that explain where the inspiration came from and how the Shetland, how the Shetland words and location and lifestyle and everything, how they come into play. And they had to put this together amidst COVID and not having people out there for Shetland Wool Week and things. So it's been a really impressive feat, I think. There's mention in there that they didn't know whether they'd get to do it this year. So I've really enjoyed that as well. It's a lovely one. And then I ordered a couple of the Life in the Long Grass books, which I've been flicking through. At the moment, there's a couple of things that have jumped out, but it's just been flicking through. It's kind of like somebody's website or Instagram, like printed into a solid book, which is quite a joy. So yeah, those are good. I would definitely recommend This Golden Fleece, definitely. Really good read. And Strands of Joy, but I haven't knitted anything out of it yet. So that's those. I have hanging here the things that I'm knitting at the moment. So the Fox Sorts cardigan is the one I've been showing you all the way through. You can see how much time has passed. This is the passage of time. Because I've finished the whole of the body here, and I've done one sleeve entirely with I stupidly forgot to change to the 4mm, the US size 4 needle for the colour work on the end of the arm, so it comes in slightly, but I'm imagining I can block it out, and equally I'll do the same on the other one so it'll match. What does it matter? So I have done the detailing with the colour work on there. I'll move out of the way so that hopefully it focuses. And I chose a merino quads for the body, for the main colour, which is 100% merino superwash, and it's a 4-ply fingering weight yarn. I really love the way it takes colour, and I love the stitch definition. This is in the Hogwarts Express colourway. And then I actually did the colourwork sections in our sparkle base, which is like a sock yarn with nylon and sparkle in it, because I wanted to use sparkly yarn. But the kits that I'm selling are all in the merino quads. In an ideal world, if you're doing the steek with all this colourwork, you would actually use a much more toothy yarn, like the new British sock that I'm going to have in, because it like the teeth in it grip together and it all holds a lot better down here, down the steek, when you come to cut it. Because I've used a merino superwash, because I wanted it to be something I could wash easily and not super warm. I wanted it to be an indoor cardi rather than a out around the farm or in, you know, colder evenings or whatever jumper. So I wanted it to be one I could wear in the office and not be too hot in. So I wanted something soft and not too woolly, but as a result I've got a slight nervousness about the steek. What I'm going to do is run the sewing machine up either side a couple of times with a zigzag stitch to really catch these, whereas normally obviously you just do a running stitch and then maybe a back stitch up it. But where these markers are, you actually do an internal seam to close these ends away, so I'm not too concerned about it. So that should hopefully, I've not got hardly any time left on it, but I've been working on a little swatch of the Pink Fizz lace detail by Andrea Mowry, because somebody's asked me about whether Ginny would be a good base for that, because a good colourway for that, because it's got the tonal variegation and whether the lace would show up. So I've knitted a swatch of the lace in Pygmy Puff, which whilst it's not the same colour, it's the exact same variegated tonal, and it's mohair and cash merino held together, and it's come out really beautifully, but that kind of distracted me from the other sleeve for a couple of days. The other thing I've been getting on with that I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I started knitting this again because I put it down ages ago and didn't get back to it, is my Miss Arena tee, which I started in the autumn. And this is by Boylan Knit Works, and obviously, sorry, the Fox Thoughts is by Hiroko Payne, and that was from Pom Pom Quarterly issue, I think it's 37, is it the winter issue, 2020? So yeah, I'm also knitting on this. This is a merino singles. The original pattern was knit in, I think it was a merino linen. It was a Yama fibre, I think, because it's kind of a springy early autumn top. But mine's in merino singles, and it's in Hogwarts Grounds, which is the goldy colour, with touches of mink and lilac-y, lavender, and then the colour work is in Night Bus on the same finish. So I'm going to go down to my waistline, because it is supposed to crop probably about here, but I find I end up not putting them on because I don't really like that little gap between my jeans and the top. So I'm going to knit this down to full length, but I'm going to cap the sleeves still, so it can be a one to put on when it's a bit warmer, or when you're inside and you don't want to be overheating. And I finished my little dahlia. Let me grab it. So this is for my colleague's baby. I probably mentioned it earlier in the vlogcast. And this is Little Dahlia by Lena, can't remember her name, Lena Holmes. I think I've put it earlier anyway. I'll show it on screen. But this is knit in Pygmy Puff, the cashmere merino nylon base that we have. These are the buttons that I got from, what's wrong with me? I can't remember anything. These are the buttons I got from, I put her, well anyway, I'll add it on screen. But I got them from Oslo, sent over, and I got buttons from my Fox Thoughts at the same time. So I'm really pleased with how that's come out. But this shows what I was just talking about with the tonal variegated yarns and how they knit up. Whilst you do get, obviously, colour differences, that's the whole point of the hand-dyed yarn, you do get an overall feeling of one colour with just little dots and dashes and smudges and watercolour sections of different colours. So yeah, that's knitted in Pygmy Puff with these beautiful buttons. So yeah, I think that was everything I was going to talk about. I am going to get my other non-superwash samples from Laxton's Mill next week. That was very nice of them to send those out for me to play with, and I can dye them, then I'll probably knit with them, work out which ones I like, and then I was thinking I'll bring maybe 2 to 4 of those in as proper bases that we'll be using. I am definitely using the British sock base from John Arbon, so I'll definitely be using that one. So if you want something more toothy, this will be going on. I think I just want to knit with it, so I found a really great pattern in the Shetland Wool Week for a sock that would be perfect for being out on the farm. That's up there. So I'm going to knit that with this. I've been dyeing this up as the orangey red, and then I've dyed up Swedish short snout for the grey colour, the pensive, however you say it, and I'm dyeing up Molly at the Burrow as the other colour. So they'll be the 3 background colours, and then For the Love of Ginny will be the terracotta colour that's on there. And I thought I'd knit those up and block them, wash them, wear them before I start selling this, so that I can give you feedback on what I think of it. Since I've last chatted to you guys, it's been officially announced when Unravel is going to be, which is the second weekend in May. I think it's May 14th, that kind of weekend. I'm going to be at Unravel, so I will be there. I'm really interested to know what bases people want dyed up, because I'm dyeing up just loads of everything, but I'm very conscious that if you want to get a sweater's quantity of something, you might want 6 or 8 skeins of something, and obviously if I did that for all of the bases, I'd have thousands of skeins of yarn. So it's trying to get a balance between making sure I've got enough and I don't have to take an entire truck to get there. So anyway, yeah, if you've got any comments on that, I would love your feedback about bases. That would be really, really helpful. So other than that, we have just been, I'm looking out there because that's the window down into the farmyard. We have been enjoying the farm a lot. My dad is getting some cattle in 2 or 3 weeks, some red poles, about 6 of them. So we don't currently have any livestock on the farm. We have horses because my uncle runs like a horse company, like livery essentially, on what used to be our dairy. We used to have a Jersey herd here when I was a child, but we sold them, I think, in maybe 97, something like that. So he has them in the dairy, but we haven't had actual cattle and sheep like we used to have. My auntie used to run the dairy with the Jerseys. She had Dexter cows and she had sheep as well. She's very into her sheep breeding, and she has retired since, and all of those have gone. So my dad has decided now, he's heading towards retirement, that he'd like to get some cattle. So those are coming in a few weeks, and me and the boys are hopefully going to help out with that. So I'm really excited about those coming. It's one of those things where I'll probably be excited, and the reality will be quite different, but we shall see. So we've been doing that. We've been thinking about maybe getting a border collie dog. I was thinking of using the dog to maybe herd the cattle, but I'm sure my dad will think something different, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We've been enjoying being out on the farm despite the lockdown and getting out there every day, rain or shine. The kids have got this base with a rope swing and stuff over the brook that runs down through the farm, so we've been out there and doing that. So I hope you're all keeping really well. We are heading towards the end of, well, potentially, I'm guessing, based on what Boris said months ago, that we're probably heading towards the end of our current lockdown soon, and the kids will hopefully go back to school. It's half term right now. So yeah, I should have my fox thoughts finished by the next time I see you. I will have some of those new yarns dyed up to show you, hopefully some of them knitted up as well, and I will keep knitting on my Miss Arena tee. So yeah, take care, and I will see you again soon.